Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid. Basically, it's a painkiller like morphine, but a lot of people are taking it recreationally.
The latest person to die is a 17-year-old.
Traffickers adding fentanyl to everything.
Fentanyl, that's the drug that contributed to his death.
It's being called a nationwide disaster.
Imagine this. A teenager smokes weed for the first time at a party and ends up in the ER, fighting for their life. No one saw it coming. This isn't just an urban legend. I've seen it firsthand as an urgent care doc. Fentanyl is now showing up in everything. Pills, powders, even weed. Just what the heck is going on? And are we facing a poisoning crisis on top of a drug epidemic? I'm Dr. Yomi Adeyemi, board-certified urgent care doctor. And today, I'm breaking down the science and exposing how we got here. Hey guys, really quick before we jump into the video, I just want to say that, believe it or not, more than 90% of you guys watching this video right now aren't subscribed. I want to continue bringing you guys high quality content here on the channel. And to do that, we need your support. I'm not sponsored by any big industry names, and everything we do here on this channel is supported by you guys. So if you subscribe now, my commitment to you is that me and my team will continue doing everything in our power to bring you guys the highest quality content. Thanks for listening. Let's get into it. Picture this, a substance so powerful, just 2 milligrams, the weight of a few grains of salt, can end a life. That's fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid. In the hospital, it's a tool doctors use for patients in severe pain, after surgery, or during cancer treatments. But on the street, it's become something else entirely, a nearly invisible killer. Over 74,000 people in the US died from synthetic opioids, mainly fentanyl, just last year. That's nearly 70% of all opioid deaths in 2023. Now, why is it so deadly? Well, because fentanyl is being mixed into everything. Heroin, cocaine, meth, ketamine, which we've talked about here on the channel, and most dangerously, into counterfeit pills that look just like prescription medications. Most victims have no idea that they're taking fentanyl until it's too late. And here's the science. Fentanyl is up to 100 times stronger than morphine and about 50 times stronger than heroin. Once it's in your system, it locks onto your brain's opioid receptors, blocking pain, but also shutting down your body's drive to breathe. The result? Overdose can happen in minutes, sometimes before anyone can even call for help. The smallest amount, just a dusting, can stop a healthy adult's heart. The bottom line is that fentanyl is meant for controlled medical settings, not street drugs. When you buy pills or powders off the street, you're not just gambling, you're playing Russian roulette, and every dose could be your last. So, what do? Well, education, harm reduction, and carrying naloxone. Know the signs, share the facts, and never assume any pill is safe unless it came from a pharmacy.
18-year-old Teslyn Russell was found dead in her family's home on December 30th.
Just 18 years old, she loved people and animals, a zest for life, a fierce competitor.
A tragic milestone last week with the CDC reporting that more than 107,000 Americans died of drug overdoses last year. That's a new high, surpassing the previous record by 15%.
Now, you keep hearing about it, but how did fentanyl, a drug originally developed for severe pain management, end up in everything from party pills to your friend's joint? A bit of a mystery. It started small. Clandestine labs discovered that they could synthesize fentanyl without the need for opium poppies. Well, cartels quickly realized how cheap and potent it was. Suddenly, a kilogram of fentanyl, enough for 500,000 doses, was being smuggled across borders, hidden in mail packages, car trunks, and mixed into bulk powders. But here's the real twist. The profit margins are staggering. You see, 1 kilogram costs about a few $1,000s to produce, but it can generate millions in street sales. So what did dealers do? They began pressing fentanyl into fake prescription pills, Adderall, Xanax, oxycodone. Why? Because most people trust a pill. Except it's not what you think. These counterfeit pills are mass produced in illegal labs, often overseas. There's no quality control. Just one bad mix and a recreational pill becomes a deadly dose. And it doesn't stop there. Sometimes the same surfaces or baggies used to mix fentanyl are used for cocaine, meth, or even cannabis, contaminating everything they touch. And here's another part most people miss. You don't have to be chasing a high to get caught up. One night out, one pill at a party, one hit off a joint that was cross-contaminated, that's all it takes. This isn't just about hardcore addicts anymore. It's happening to teens, college kids, working adults, people who thought they were being careful. And the bottom line, fentanyl is everywhere because it's cheap, easy to make, and shockingly profitable. But that's turned every pill, every powder, and sometimes even weed into a game of Russian roulette. Now, let's break down exactly what happens in your body when fentanyl hits your system. Opioids, like fentanyl, work by locking on to special proteins in your brain and spinal cord called mu-opioid receptors. These receptors normally help manage pain, but when fentanyl binds to them, it sends an overwhelming signal to your brain that essentially tells your body to relax, sometimes to the point of stopping essential functions. One of the most dangerous effects? Respiratory depression. Fentanyl powerfully suppresses the brainstem's respiratory centers. These are the areas that unconsciously control your breathing. So instead of automatically taking your next breath, your brain just stops sending the signal. You literally forget to breathe. Within minutes, oxygen levels plummet, and the result, hypoxia, brain damage, and death, unless someone intervenes immediately. What makes fentanyl especially deadly is how fast it works, because it's highly lipophilic, meaning it dissolves quickly in fats. That means it crosses from your blood into your brain in seconds. You can go from normal to unconscious before anyone knows what's happening. That's why overdoses on fentanyl are often described as victims just dropping. They collapse, sometimes with the needle still in their arm or the pill bottle in hand. To make matters worse, fentanyl often overwhelms the body's natural tolerance, especially in people who thought they were taking something weaker. Just a few grains, we're talking 2 milligrams, can be fatal for most adults. And now, here's where things get critical. Naloxone, also known as Narcan, is an opioid antagonist. It can kick fentanyl off those opioid receptors and restart breathing. But because fentanyl binds so tightly and there can be so much in the system, you might need multiple doses to bring someone back. Every second counts. That's why bystanders, friends, and family need to know the signs and act immediately. Otherwise, permanent brain damage or death can happen in just a few minutes. In short, fentanyl is deadly because it's strong, fast, and silent. You can't see it, you can't taste it. And if you aren't ready to act, it can be too late in just a few minutes. So, if you think someone might be overdosing, call 911, and if you can, use Narcan right away. It's always better to be safe, because with fentanyl, you might not get a second chance. Everyone from EMTs to security guards carry Narcan around with them. Why? Because as you might know, we've got a huge homelessness problem in this city. And many of these people are using drugs like fentanyl. Being able to quickly administer Narcan oftentimes is the difference between life and death.
Now, this one still keeps me up at night. It was late, one of those shifts where every room is full in urgent care, and you just hope for a moment to breathe. But then a young man comes in. His friends are with him and they look scared, really scared. They say he just smoked some weed, but now he's barely awake, head rolling, lips turning blue. I kneel down beside this kid and he can't answer questions. His breathing is almost gone. I look in his eyes and his pupils are pinpoints. That's when my heart drops, because as a doctor, I know what this means. Opioids. But his friends swear, no pills, no powders, just weed, doc. That's all he took. It's surreal how fast things can change. One minute he's laughing with his friends and the next he's slipping away. Now we work as a team. Someone grabs the Narcan and I administer it, hoping it's not too late. Seconds stretch out and I'm watching for a miracle, praying this isn't the end of a young life over something as simple as a joint. Suddenly, his chest heaves, he gasps, and his eyes open. He's back. But here's the part that never leaves you. The tox screen comes back positive for fentanyl. Now that could have been anyone. Your friend, your brother, your kid. If we hadn't acted fast, he'd just be another headline. In this story, it's not rare anymore. It's happening every day to people who never thought it would be them. That's why I'm telling you, nobody is safe from this. The game has changed. You need to know the truth before it happens to somebody you love.
Now let's talk about a rumor that's everywhere. Is fentanyl really being mixed into weed? Well, you've probably seen viral headlines or TikTok warnings about fentanyl-laced marijuana. And some police reports and news outlets have even blamed overdoses on weed that supposedly contained fentanyl. Well, here's what the real evidence says. Despite all the hype, there are no verified cases of fentanyl being intentionally added to cannabis for street sale. According to a thorough investigation by the Matters Network, there's never been a confirmed case of weed deliberately laced with fentanyl. In fact, a few positive lab tests, like one in Connecticut in 2021, were found to be caused by cross-contamination, not intentional mixing. And the reality? So why do these stories keep popping up? The risk is from cross-contamination. If a dealer is making counterfeit pills or handling fentanyl powders, then turns around and handles cannabis or uses the same baggies or scale, trace amounts can get on the weed. And because fentanyl is so potent, even a few micrograms can be dangerous. There's no real incentive for dealers to put fentanyl in weed. It doesn't create repeat customers, and most people aren't seeking out opioids in their marijuana. What's happening is accidental, caused by sloppy or careless handling in the unregulated street market. And while the fear of intentional fentanyl-laced weed is mostly a myth, the possibility of accidental contamination is real if the supplier is dealing with fentanyl too. So you've always got to be careful. Of course, my recommendation as a doctor is that you avoid taking these drugs to begin with. And that's the easiest way to stay out of all of this. But if you must, buy from regulated legal sources if you can. And don't ignore overdose symptoms just because someone says they only smoked weed. With fentanyl, it literally only takes a speck. So what can you do? Never take a pill that wasn't prescribed by a pharmacy. Test your drugs with fentanyl strips. Yes, even weed, if you're worried about cross-contamination. Carry Narcan. It's legal to buy in most states now, and it does save lives. If someone collapses, call 911 and use Narcan immediately. Now, if you think this can't happen to you, think again. The days of safe street drugs are over. Every pill, every puff could be laced. You gotta stay smart, stay alive. And share this video with anyone you care about, because the only way we stop this crisis is by spreading real science, not fear. Stay dynamic, everyone. Peace.